Hi, my name is Blaze, and welcome back to part 2 of how to use a tool series. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use a bench grinder. But before I get on to the bench grinder, we first need to cover safety. So, body protection and eye protection are the two main points I'd like to make here. So first off, safety glasses. Very important. There will be sparks coming out of this machine. You need to protect your eyes. If you have a face shield, I suggest using that too. For main upper body coverage, you can use an old flannel jacket. Anything that has thick material, preferably cotton. You don't want any of these newer type materials because they will either catch on fire or melt, which is not giving you the best protection. For even more protection on your front, you can use a leather jacket. Now onto the actual bench grinder. So this is a Master Machinery bench grinder, and it has many uses. So, first off, location of different items. For my current setup right here, I have a grinding wheel and then a wire wheel. Right here is the on and off button, and in the back of it you have the cord. So, moving on to attachments. This thing has many different attachments, some being buffing wheels, grinding wheels, wire wheels, that can be brass or steel, and these come in different sizes. My bench grinder is a 6-inch, so its attachments are only 6 inches. This grinding wheel right here is a 36 grit. I also have a 60 grit grinding wheel. The 36 grit, basically it's more coarse and it's going to be more aggressive with material, as where this is going to be a little softer and not be as aggressive. The main use of this wire wheel right here is to remove rust or paint depending on the application. Now, how do you change the different attachments? So, for the wire wheel, it's very simple. All you gotta do is remove this nut, but you do not want to hold this while loosening it because the nut on this side will loosen too. There's this cover on here. The purpose of this cover is to guard whatever is behind the angle grinder from sparks, what's below, and what's above from sparks. And all you have to do to take this apart, Phillips head screwdriver, pair of pliers, and loosen the 3 or so screws that surround it. I have already pre-loosened these just for time's sake. Next, what you're gonna want to do is pull this outer shell off. These 3 holes right here, here, and here are where those screws entered in. So, here's the other nut that you're gonna need to hold on to. So, I only have 1 3/4 inch wrench, so I'm just gonna use a pair of pliers on one side to hold it, and then a open wrench on the other. Something you want to keep in mind is one side is reverse thread, the other side is standard thread. So, on my machine, this side to tighten is normal thread, whereas on the other side, give me a second, I'll show you, is reverse thread. So, you do not want to move to the left to loosen, because you will end up tightening it even more, which you do not want to do. So you're going to move the wrench to the right to loosen it. Now that you have the nut on, you can pull the outer plate off, which looks like this. All this piece of paper doesn't have any function, but it does give you information about the grinding wheel. Here up top are the basic measurements of it. Right here is the type, 36 being 36 grit. The 4500 minute is just telling you the amount of times it rotates per second. 35 meters per second is how much area this grinding wheel is covering per second. Now that that one plate is off, you can now pull the attachment off. In this case, it is a grinding wheel. There is also another back plate. At this point in the video, you're probably asking yourself, why does one side have a cover and the other doesn't? Well, it's very simple. And I'll explain it to you once I get this back on. Okay, on this side, this is a wire wheel. Let me get it up here and show you closer. Just a bunch of strands of steel wire in this case. And as you're using it, these wires tend to expand and move all over the place. And what you don't want to do is the side of this cover to come into contact with one of these strands. Because if they do, it's going to hit the edge, and more times than not, the little strand is going to come off and it will most likely hit you. Which is why you don't want to have the cover on. Now, for the uses of it, there's a couple different uses. So, for example 1, this piece of steel has paint on it. You don't want that paint on there, then you can take it to the wire wheel side of this, turn it on, and just go back and forth until all the paint is off. But if you're going to do it this way, you need to wear a respirator. That way you're not inhaling all of the particles. Example number 2. This piece of steel also has burrs and sharp edges on it. If you decide that you don't want that, then you can take it to this side, which has the grinding wheel, turn it on, go back and forth to remove that burr and sharp edge. Another thing this wire wheel can do is remove rust. So, say you have a rusty bolt, or spring, or either of them. You can take whatever is rusty, just go back and forth on the wire wheel and remove the rust.